Good evening, you're welcome. Tonight at 9. EU condemns Israeli attacks on journalists in Gaza as UN calls for independent investigation into killings.
At least 242 journalists have been killed in Gaza. Journalists and media workers must be respected, they must be protected.
Indian representatives meet Taoiseach following spate of attacks as India Day event is postponed. Two Gardaí appear in court on corruption charges linked to alleged offences in the Midlands. Galway girls, the All-Ireland Senior Camogie champions, bring home the O'Duffy Cup. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has condemned Israel's killing of a group of Al Jazeera journalists, which included prominent correspondent Anas al-Sharif. He has also called for an investigation into the targeted attack, which took place in the early hours of this morning. Israel has alleged that the 28-year-old was a Hamas military operative, a claim that has been rejected by Al Jazeera as baseless.
For millions of people, he was the eyes and ears on the ground in Gaza, providing regular updates on the war, which were broadcast on the news channel Al Jazeera. But last night, Anas al-Sharif was killed in a targeted Israeli airstrike on the tent he was sharing with other journalists in Gaza City. Altogether, 7 people are reported to have died in the attack, including 4 of his Al Jazeera colleagues, drawing condemnation from media groups, the EU and the UN.
The Secretary-General calls for an independent and impartial investigation into these latest killings. At least 242 journalists have been killed in Gaza since the war began. Journalists and media workers must be respected, they must be protected, and they must be allowed to carry out their work freely.
Israel's military has confirmed that Anas al-Sharif was the target of the strike, alleging he had been a Hamas military operative who had been involved in rocket attacks. The Independent Committee to Protect Journalists said Israel had failed to provide evidence to back up its allegations, while Al Jazeera described it as a premeditated attack on press freedom.
The killing, it's an assassination, a deliberate assassination against our team to kill and to hide the crimes and the truths who have been covered by this brave team, and the justifying this killing by fabricated allegations, it's an additional crime.
In a message prepared in the event of his death, Anas al-Sharif called on the world not to forget Gaza, saying he had made every effort to convey the truth without distortion or falsification. If these words reach you, the note reads, know that Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. Kate Varley, RTE News.
Earlier, I spoke to Middle East reporter Borzu Daragahi and began by asking him what the international reaction has been to the Israeli strike that killed these journalists.
Among the journalists that I know, including an initiative called the Freedom to Report .org, which is a group of journalists who are trying to get access to Gaza. This guy is kind of well known. Anas, for example, the Al Jazeera journalist that was the kind of leading figure among those that were killed, Anas al-Sharif, he's kind of well known and he's well regarded in the journalist world. And so the fact that he was killed and that these accusations have been leveled against him strikes many as absurd, and they've been quick to condemn this action.
Have journalists working in Gaza been receiving enough support?
Absolutely not. There's reports from the news agencies, including AFP, AP, and Reuters, that their correspondents there are not able to access food. They're no longer able to report because they're suffering the same kind of starvation difficulties as other journalists, as other residents of Gaza, rather. And so this has been a tough situation for journalists all around in Gaza, and they need a voice to speak out for them. in the international community.
What's the current situation in Gaza this evening?
Apparently, I'm not on the ground, so I'm not sure. But apparently, the Israeli army is still kind of contemplating this plan to reoccupy Gaza as it did a couple decades ago. And there is a consternation in the international community, including in Washington, that this could further exacerbate the humanitarian crisis and create diplomatic headaches for Western leaders.
I know you're not on the ground yourself, but are you concerned for your colleagues who are on the ground in Gaza, for their safety?
I will say that the situation there is very dire for every single person, and it should beg the conscience of the international community to be there, present in that situation, to document the abuses that are going on and on both sides.
Borzu Daragahi, international journalist, thank you for joining us on the programme.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
The Ireland-India Council has said this weekend's India Day festival has now been postponed following a spate of attacks on Indians living here. Representatives met the Taoiseach Simon Harris at government buildings this afternoon.
Two groups of Indian community representatives met the Taoiseach today. Many have been in Ireland for years and are shocked by new attitudes to their community.
Thank you. It was really a land of thousand welcomes, but now it looks the values are being eroded. Whether it is inside or outside, we don't know.
Dr. Santosh Yadav, who suffered these injuries in a vicious attack in Clondalkin, says he has heard of 50 other incidents in Dublin. He will stay in Ireland. Others are reconsidering their future.
I'm listening from a lot of nurses who are planning to leave Ireland because now they are worried about their children's safety and security. They are worried about themselves walking home after night duty.
The role of social media and the involvement of young people in the attacks are of particular concern.
There's a lot of propagandas going on. The social media accounts created and closed in a few minutes, sort of few days. And that gives me the indication that it is some sort of organized agenda, organized propaganda, and that is specifically targeted to Indians.
Social media can't be the Wild West. Now, we have in recent weeks seen the commencement of Ireland's online safety media code, and that is the start of, I suppose, a regulatory system that has teeth.
Though reassured by today's meeting, the Ireland-India Council has postponed its India Day celebration, which was to take place at Farmley in the Phoenix Park on Sunday. They say those attending the event would have been safe, but worry it could have been used as an occasion for attacks on the Indian community elsewhere in Ireland. A different India Day event will go ahead in Merrion Square in Dublin city centre on Sunday. The Indian representatives who came here today say they have received many public and private expressions of support from Irish people, and they believe that more public shows of solidarity will be the best way to turn the tide on the recent wave of racism against their community. Coleman O'Sullivan, RTE News.
Two members of An Garda Síochána have appeared in court on corruption charges linked to a number of alleged offences in the Midlands. Garda Brian Carroll from Ballinaboy, Kilteven in County Roscommon, and Sergeant James Muldowney from Caltra, Ballinasloe, County Galway, are being sent forward for trial in the Circuit Criminal Court.
Garda Brian Carroll and Sergeant James Muldowney are both attached to the Mayo Roscommon Longford Garda Division. They were both arrested by appointment at Granard Garda Station and appeared here before Longford District Court today. 42-year-old Brian Carroll is accused of disclosing confidential information in September 2021 that was obtained in the course of his duties. He is also charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice by damaging his mobile phone before his home was searched in March 2022. Sergeant James Muldowney is accused of stealing cash at a property in Longford in September 2021 and also faces a charge of attempting to obstruct the course of justice during an incident in Roscommon Town in January 2024. Detective Sergeant Paul Dowling from the Garda Anti-Corruption Unit told the court that both men were arrested separately at Granard Garda Station on the 28th of July when charges were put to the men They made no reply and were released on station bail. Judge Michael Connellan was told that the Director of Public Prosecutions had directed that both men be sent forward for trial before the Circuit Criminal Court. The judge remanded both men on continuing bail while a book of evidence is prepared. Both men must appear again before Longford District Court in mid-October. Diane Connor, RTE News in Longford.
Police in County Down are continuing to question a man arrested in connection with the murder of a man in Downpatrick over the weekend. The victim, named locally as Stephen Brannigan, has been described as a much-loved father and grandfather. It's believed his killing is connected to an attack on a priest in the town.
Police remained in Martyn Park today at the house where a man was found dead at around 12 p.m. yesterday. The estate is on the outskirts of Downpatrick. He was Stephen Brannigan, aged in his 50s. 2 kilometres away at St Patrick's Church in the centre of the town, there was a large police presence this afternoon as they investigate the serious assault of a priest and the sacristy here yesterday morning. Police said the murder and assault were separate but linked attacks. Canon John Murray remains in a serious but stable condition in hospital. He had been preparing for 10:30 a.m. Mass when a man approached him and asked him to hear a confession before being attacked with a bottle. He sustained a serious head injury.
The community will continue to be there for the parish, for Father John Murray. People seen the vigil last night. That sense of palpable community spirit now rallying around is there, and also the family and friends of the deceased. And I think that time and that space for the investigation to continue, but also the community to start to heal around in all of this.
A 30-year-old man remains in police custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. Police this evening have appealed for anyone who was in St Patrick's Avenue on Sunday morning or in Martyn Park between midnight and noon on Sunday and saw or heard anything untoward to come forward. Anya Gallagher, RTE News, Downpatrick.
2 men have been arrested by detectives investigating the attempted murder of a senior police officer in County Tyrone over 2 years ago. Detective Chief Inspector John Caldwell was seriously injured after being shot several times at a leisure centre in Omagh in February 2023 while he was off duty. The men, aged 45 and 25, have been detained under the Terrorism Act and are being questioned in Belfast. Still to come on the 9 o'clock news. Ahead of Alaska meeting, Trump vows to urge Putin to end Ukraine war. Extreme heat wave sweeps Europe, fueling fears of wildfires. Welcome back. US President Donald Trump has said that his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday will be what he described as a feel-out meeting aimed at urging Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Speaking after a meeting of EU foreign ministers to discuss Ukraine, the Taoiseach Simon Harris said the EU will continue intensive engagement with the US ahead of Friday's summit.
Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine has long been the shared Ukrainian and European policy towards any peace talks to end the war. But Friday's summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska, their first meeting since 2019, has caused concern in Kyiv and European capitals that Ukraine could be forced to accept an unacceptable peace, namely giving up large parts of its territory, a price Ukraine's president has ruled out. Speaking this afternoon, Mr. Trump made it clear that Ukrainian interests would be taken into account on Friday.
They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders.
Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has convened a top-level video conference for Wednesday with European leaders Mr. Zelensky and Mr. Trump to discuss steps to increase pressure on Russia so that it accepts a ceasefire first before there is any discussion over territorial claims. Clearly, some clarity is needed ahead of Friday. Diverging accounts have emerged about what Russia's leader actually told US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff last week. US media has reported that some European leaders, after speaking with Mr. Trump, understood that Russia had agreed to drop its claims over the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. It has since emerged that Mr. Putin demanded that Ukraine withdraw from Donetsk and Luhansk regions as the price for a ceasefire. Ukraine and Europe will be hoping that nothing is lost in translation in Alaska on Friday. Liam Nolan, RTÉ News.
In Washington, US President Donald Trump has said he will place the city's police department under federal control and deploy 800 troops from the National Guard to tackle what he described as a wave of crime. Despite statistics showing that violent crime in Washington is at a 30-year low, Mr. Trump has in recent days claimed that crime rates were totally out of control. He has also demanded that homeless residents leave the capital or face eviction.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth.
The UK Met Office has issued a number of heat warnings ahead of an expected heat wave in the coming days. France, Italy and Spain have also been dealing with extreme conditions. Here, Met Éireann says temperatures are set to rise this week.
Heat health alerts have been issued for all of England and will remain in place until Wednesday. The hottest weather will be in central and southern England, with a peak of 34 degrees possible tomorrow. As temperatures soared, these young visitors on a trip to the local zoo in Crawley in West Sussex took every precaution to keep cool.
I have been in the shade a little bit and I've put sun cream on and I'm wearing my hat.
We like to freeze the water in the freezer and then when we drink it, it's cold.
In France, temperatures are set to reach up to 42 degrees Celsius in the southwest of the country and up to 34 degrees in Paris.
In the Seine, in 3 places, you can swim. So if you plan to walk, swim a little bit and not complaining too much, enjoy the weather and the people.
In northern Spain, fires in the Castile and Leon region caused by extreme heat led to 700 people being told to abandon their homes in half a dozen villages.
We're looking at heat waves becoming more and more frequent, more intense, and we're looking in some places at heat waves of 40, 45 degrees, almost 50 degrees temperature.
Croatia is also dealing with large fires, as is Montenegro, where firefighters battled intense flames threatening an animal shelter. As high pressure dominates across Central Europe, forecasters say record-breaking temperatures for August are likely to be set for many European countries in the coming days. Dimitri O'Donnell, RTÉ News.
Finally, the All-Ireland Camogie champions Galway are back on home soil after claiming the O'Duffy Cup. Sinead Hussey is in Clarenbridge for us tonight. Sinead, home are the heroes.
Well, the West is certainly awake tonight, and here in Clarenbridge everyone is wide awake and the children are all staying up late tonight. The team arrived here in the last 10 or 15 minutes or so. Remember, this is the hometown of Carrie Dolan, the captain of that team, who put in such an incredible performance. The team have had such a busy day. They travelled down the M6 earlier today. They crossed to Shannon in Athlone. They went to Ballinasloe and they've arrived here tonight for celebrations.
Galway to victory this afternoon.
Carrie Dolan's late laid free, showing nerves of steel, sealed the 1-point win for Galway yesterday. This evening she was making time for fans who turned out in Ballinasloe to welcome the team back to Galway.
Look, it's great. I suppose when you lose enough of them, you have to make the time for the people when you win them. I can't wait now to go back and see I suppose the people that gave a lot of time to me and came up and supported us there on Sunday.
Earlier today, as is the well-established tradition, the players visited Children's Health Ireland at Temple Street. For the team, it gave them an invaluable perspective on life.
Like, we're playing a sport that we love, and we're able to run out in the field, and you just come here this morning and you just kind of think how lucky we are to be able to do what we're doing.
Yesterday we probably thought the game was the most important thing ever, but it humbles you coming here today. You see there's so much more that's bigger in the life, I suppose.
Through the corridors, the players met the patients.
It was great to lift the cup.
But not everyone was for turning.
Mayo.
This afternoon then, the players brought the O'Duffy Cup back across the Shannon in Athlone, and their next stop was Banlaslow.
In fairness to the Camogie team, over the last 10 or 12 years they've been really consistent and always been challenging. So it's brilliant for them to get another win on the board, you know.
It was just brilliant. They haven't won it in a while, so I was really happy when I was at home.
It's so encouraging for the young people that's here.
No, it's probably beginning to sink in a small little bit when you see the crowds here in Banlaslow now. You know, I've seen nothing like that for any Camogie homecoming, to be honest with you. So I suppose this team has probably got a huge amount of supporters the way they went about their business and the way they won yesterday. And it's really, really special to be coming home to this crowd.
I remember being a young girl here back when the All-Ireland in 2019 when the girls won last time, and to be here now on the team is just, it's such a full circle moment, and I'm just privileged to be a part of it. So
Yeah, my voice is a bit shook now, but it's been great now from start to finish. We're just enjoying ourselves now, to be honest, because we've been training so hard since December, January time. We've trained so hard all year. We've just time to let loose now and enjoy ourselves.
Tonight, the celebrations continue in Clarenbridge.
Well, the celebrations are by no means over. In fact, they're really only getting started here in Clarenbridge tonight. The team say they really want to savour this success. Remember, they've lost the last 3 out of the last 4 finals they've been involved in. So as Carrie Dolan put it earlier, only the good teams come back. And well, Galway, they certainly came back yesterday.
Our Midlands correspondent Sinead Hussey, thank you. That's Monday's 9 o'clock news. From all the team, good night and take care.